Hey everyone, and welcome to Screams After Midnight. I am Peter, that is Tim, and we talk about horror movies on this show, and it is the final episode of 2018. Therefore, this is our New Year's special. We're talking about Terror Train. Terror Train is the New Year's movie this year, which stars Jamie Lee Curtis, kind of firmly in our Scream Queen era, because this is 2 years after Halloween, and it is a slasher movie on a train. And it's a revenge slasher movie. We get like a prologue scene where the obvious killer is humiliated by everyone else at this frat house, and then it's a costume party at New Year's, which was kind of funny to me because I was thinking, like, if you wanted to do costumes, then why not just make it a Halloween movie?
I kept thinking, like, there's nothing actually about New Year's in this movie. Like, let's get that kind of out of the way. Yeah, this felt more like a combination of an April Fool's movie and a Halloween movie.
Yeah, but they mention it takes place on New Year's Eve. So New Year's Eve's party. That's what's happening.
Yeah. But yeah, like the costumes are very Halloweeny, and then there's kind of these like running gags with like pranks and jokes and stuff that I was like, yeah, it kind of like reminds me of April Fool's.
Yeah, yeah, because one of the asshole characters who kind of like does the prank in the prologue that pisses the person off, loves to prank people.
I like that you said one of, because it's not really that many likable people in this movie other than Jamie Lee Curtis.
There's definitely not.
Maybe the magician. I don't know.
Train conductor's all right,
I guess, if you like conductors.
But so the movie takes place in a train, and you have this weird rivalry between the prankster and the magician, because he's basically annoyed that the magician can do things that he can't explain because he likes to trick people. So that's one of the running things in there. But yeah, so we'll start spoiler free as we always do. We'll give you a warning before we go into spoilers, and we will we'll get going. So Terror Train. Yeah, so the prank at the start of the movie is it's back when this class were all starting their course, and they have one of the pledges tricked into a room where Jamie Lee Curtis has also been kind of tricked to kind of lure him in, as thinking that he might have sex, but she doesn't clearly know what the prank actually is. She knows it's a prank. She knows she's not actually going to go through with it, but she doesn't know what the actual punchline is going to be. And it turns out, because it's a med school, they've got like body parts in the bed, which naturally, this is a horrible prank. Let's just make that clear. This is horrible. And then he freaks out, and I thought he was going to fall out the window or something. Well, yeah.
Oh no! Well, I was just gonna say he twirls.
Yeah, he twirls in the bed sheets. Yes, and then it just goes to the title screen, and it's like, okay, fine. But I thought it was going to accidentally get set on fire or something, and it was going to be a deformity. But no,
Oh no! This opening is like bizarre. It is really weird. First of all, it's like way too long. Like, there's a lot of stuff of just people kind of walking around the party, kind of just talking and blah blah blah, whatever.
It's like 97 minutes long, and it is like at least 10 to 15 too long.
Yeah, and then so this, and I feel like I actually watched like the opening twice, because I watched it like last night and then like passed out, and then watched it again this morning. But I feel like I still don't know exactly what went on. So it was like a dead body.
Yeah, it was real body parts from the med school.
But it wasn't always shown. Like, at what point it's very clearly just like a mannequin, right? Like, because it looks like a mannequin at first, and then when it actually falls down on the bed, then it looks like a corpse. But I don't know. Like,
the first time you see it, it's definitely different body parts that are kind of like assembled together.
Yeah.
Because the arms are not connected to the main part. So I wasn't getting mannequin from it, but
it looks like a mannequin. I mean, maybe it's just because it's kind of dark and maybe not shot super well, but like at first it looks like it's a different body when it's standing up versus when it's laying down. So I just thought it was really weird, because I didn't know at first if it was just a mannequin, but like he was scared of it for some reason, so he was seeing a dead body or something like that. Like, I guess later on they kind of clearly state that, oh no, it was
a
dead body, but it really looks weird in the beginning.
Yeah, I never got mannequin. I just got dead body parts the whole time. Yeah. So,
but yeah, his reaction though is like, it is really bizarre.
You find out afterwards that he was already mentally unstable, and
Yeah.
he's already killed someone apparently, because Jamie Lee Curtis goes to the hospital. You don't see this, but she mentioned she went to the hospital to try and see him, and they wouldn't let her because he was unstable. And it was like, okay, fine, right. And then they're having this New Year's party 2-3 years later, whatever it is, and it's New Year's Eve, and she's graduating early because she's like a super brainy person, but everyone else is still there for at least another 6 months or whatever. And okay, fine, right. And then of course the killings start happening, and the killer kind of swaps costumes throughout the movie, and there's speculation as to who it is and what's going on. And I say who it is, we know who it is because it's obviously the guy who, if not him, then someone who cared about him. But like, it's more like, okay, it could be anyone because everyone's in masks and costumes, so you can easily switch between people, if you will, which is fine. I think one of the big problems, I mean, I was saying I was thinking X thing was going to happen in the opening. I was like, he's going to like fall through the window and injure himself, or he's going to like, get set on fire or something. Maybe I was thinking of the burning, but the thing is, I saw this movie before, like maybe 5 years ago, and I was sitting like thinking something else was going to happen because it can't just be this.
Yeah.
And it was just that. And then the other thing I would say that I'm pretty sure you're going to agree with is that for a slasher movie, the kills are very uneventful and uninteresting and kind of dull.
Without a doubt, yeah. That's probably the biggest. Like, I mean, I'll just come right off the bat and say, like, I wasn't crazy about this movie. It's like the premise isn't bad.
I like the premise. I like this. I like the idea of a slasher movie on a train. Like, I like that idea, but
yeah, much like your favorite video game, Resident Evil 0.
It is, fine well, that is my least favorite of the classic style of Resident Evil. However, it is my favorite franchise, and I still think it's quite good.
It's I replayed it not too long ago, maybe like a year or two ago, and there's a lot of stuff I like about it, but the
inventory management,
it drove me crazy. Like that.
Oh, I know.
That made me go like, all right, it'll probably be like another 10 years before I play this again.
I agree, it sucks, but I still play it every so often. Like I still enjoy it.
Yeah.
For everything else.
I like the I like the story like enough. Like some of the stuff is not that great, but I like the bat and the bat creature was cool.
Sure.
But I do like the idea of stuff on a train, but I think maybe it wasn't executed the greatest in this movie because I felt like it was just kind of boring.
I like the idea of stuff on a train. That was what you just said.
Yeah, I mean, there's be more stuff on trains. Like, you could do a sitcom on a train.
Yes. But you must love Snowpiercer. Jesus.
Oh yeah, no, it's great. Well, I guess maybe that it sounded like a joke, but I think it is a decent enough movie. I watched it and I thought it was okay. But I feel like in this movie though it's just kind of boring, like because it maybe it doesn't do enough with it. It seems like they're only going back and forth to the same couple of cars, and that's just kind of dull.
Yeah. And, it's funny because I actually I think the weakest element of the movie is its third act, because once it becomes everyone knows that there's a killer around, there are some interesting ideas about them try to lock themselves in one car, and so that if the killer's there, he has to be there with everyone else and that kind of thing. And play with this kind of stuff, but it doesn't really do much with it. It kind of follows Jamie Lee Curtis being followed around various train cars, and it's shot so dark, and the filmmaking's just not there. You tell me, the movie ends with Jamie Lee Curtis being stalked by a killer for 20 minutes. I'm like, yes, Halloween, baby. But the filmmaking's everything, and you watch Halloween and it's all these great shots, it's the suspense, the pacing. This movie's kind of boring to watch. See, when it starts to try to do suspense, it's just kind of boring.
See, I'd argue with you a little bit, and so here's why your opinion's wrong. See, I would say, would you say the last third that you thought was kind of the weakest?
In the sense that I was having a hard time paying attention to what was going on. At least the middle chunk of it, as much as I wasn't really that into it, I understood which character was jealous at who, and who was mad at who, and who everyone was in terms of friends and stuff who were dying.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Like, I think maybe overall, this movie was a little hard to pay attention to, but I don't know. I thought the middle was a little more boring. Like, I mean, unless you
Mm.
like magic, 'cause, uh, but I mean, which I actually do like magic, but I don't really understand the point of like magic in a movie, because it's just like when you see a live performance, it's kind of crazy. It's like, oh, how are they doing that? And
Yeah,
then
because
it's
they're
like, I'm sure
tricking
there's,
you in front of you. Yeah, whereas in a
yeah,
movie they can edit this any way they want. Like it's all
yeah,
magic. It's all movie magic. What whatever.
yeah.
Uh,
Um, they got an actual magician though, so I'm sure he probably was doing the tricks on there, but it's still like not that impressive in a
wait,
movie.
you know the actor was a real magician?
It was David Copperfield.
Was it?
Yeah.
Clearly, I
In
don't. Know, clearly, I don't know what David Copperfield looks like.
oh, I don't know what he looks like either, but I just remembered in the credits it said David
Oh,
Copperfield
did
as
it?
the
Okay,
magician.
fair enough. I never
Yeah.
noticed.
I mean,
Clearly, I was looking at my Twitter when the credits were playing.
if you want to double check IMDb, I could be wrong.
I will
but
look.
I'm
I will
pretty
check.
sure.
Oh no, you're right. It's David Copperfield.
Yeah. But like I don't know, I just thought the middle was really uneventful. Like I guess maybe the characters weren't like interesting enough. And then yeah, the kills that were happening in the middle, they were really dull, or they would just cut away before anything happens. That yeah, it was like it didn't really do much for me. And then I kind of like the idea of like the old train conductor kind of trying to stumble across this stuff and then trying to solve it and kind of keep everything together. But again, it always seemed like he was just going back and forth to like the same two cars and not really doing much.
There's a couple of interesting potential movies in here. Like have it be just a slasher movie with good kills, and have the characters try to use the fact they're on a train to fight back against the killer. That could be fun. Or try like some murders happen, the guests don't know, but it's all about the train conductor trying to like solve it and keep everyone from knowing and keep everything calm and whatnot. That'd also be interesting. It kind of does a little bit of both, and then not enough of either to kind of make it work. Yeah, I like the whole thing where the train conductor's like he thinks trains are on the way out, so he's going to retire and get a Winnebago.
Yeah.
And then the other guy's like, no. Have you seen gas prices going up? Like, Winnebagos are going to be gone soon. And I'm like, this is a weird debate for two people to be having, especially, in hindsight, this is like 30 plus years ago now. And I'm like, trains are still a thing. Winnebago's still a thing. Like,
Well, the debate rages on. To this day.
yes, to this day. Oh, God, yeah. So, yeah, so I bet that was a big selling point when this movie came out, though, that they had David Copperfield. I bet that was like,
without a doubt.
we've got Jamie Lee Curtis as the Scream Queen, and then we've got like David Copperfield, and there's scenes, and the whole idea that one of the characters is jealous that he's like doing like magic tricks and he doesn't understand how to do them.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Like, yeah, I like that. Again, like I think I would have liked maybe a little bit more of it, or maybe seeing it have like more consequences, like maybe the guy is like getting so upset to a point that he's like gotta do something about it. But yeah, it just kind of boils down to just this guy being like angry.
Yeah, because the movie, I mean, it's the main kind of crux of the movie in terms of the characters is that Jamie Lee Curtis is not happy about the prank from the flashback at the start, right? Which makes sense. She's sympathetic towards what they did to the guy, whose name is Kenny, I believe, was the killer.
Yeah.
Again, not a spoiler. That's just obviously it's him the whole time. It's just where is he? Who is he pretending to be? That's just that's what the movie is. But she's like mad at the guy who set all that up, and her boyfriend's his friend, and she's mad at her boyfriend for trying to convince her to come on this trip on this train when it's actually the asshole who set this up. So, and she hates his parties, she hates everything he ever does because of that prank.
Mm-hmm.
Because he always does pranks, he's always setting people up, and it's like, okay, all right, do something with that, okay. And it's just they're just kind of mad at each other for the rest of the movie. It's whatever.
Yeah.
A lot of the deaths happen off screen. Some of the deaths are just really simple. There's not really a whole lot to get invested in with the deaths, which would be fine if I really liked the characters and the characters were fun to be around and like playing with the train geography and like moving through the train and like hiding in the train. We did Train to Busan a couple of years ago, and that movie plays so much with its train and how they like get past the zombies and the train cars and stuff. And
I forgot about that. That's a great train movie.
It's a great train movie. Yeah, you like stuff on trains. That's maybe one of the best train movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Up there with Under Siege 2, Dark Territory.
Sure.
I do actually kind of like that movie, but it's just, you know what, Die Hard on a Train, it works, you know. Before everyone knew what sort of creep Steven Seagal was in real life.
We always knew.
Maybe we always. Well, I mean, I was 2 when that. Well, actually, no, I was 95. I was 6 when that movie came out. But yeah, I wasn't paying attention to the tabloids.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know either. The internet's a thing now.
And it is kind of funny, like whenever I go grocery shopping and then I see like
Steven Seagal.
Well, not Steven Seagal, but when I see like a tabloids at the checkout line, it's always like people still buy these. It's insane.
I know. Old people for sure, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just weird. Yeah, I can't imagine buying a newspaper now. But
and you know what's crazy about it? I don't think I've ever not seen one of those, and there hasn't been like maybe not always the cover, but there'll always be some kind of blurb about like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie or Jennifer Aniston or something. It's crazy that like that's been like fodder for like 20 years or something now. Like I feel like just that's been like the tabloids have been talking about that forever.
Yeah. If not that, then I don't know.
I mean, I don't know what else is interesting.
Jeff Goldblum's second plant died this past couple of weeks. That was big news.
Oh,
in the tabloids. His plant died, and he got really upset about it. So he bought himself a car, a midlife crisis car. But he's rich enough that he can do that on a monthly basis, so that's okay.
Oh, okay. I read that. That sounds somewhat interesting.
Yeah. Well, he was upset because the plant was very rare and one of a kind. It was prehistoric and it had been brought back to life.
Oh, okay. Oh, so it'd be a very boring Jurassic Park where they just bring back the plants.
Well, yeah, that's what he calls his garden. He calls his garden Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
And all the plants are all prehistoric.
All right. I'll buy that premise.
You'd buy that for $1.
Sure. Well,
look, this movie's not that interesting. I'm trying to pick up stupid things to talk about.
Yeah, you always know that it's a good. It was a good movie when we started going off on Resident Evil or tabloids.
These tabloids of all things. So, yes, we'll get the spoiler warning then. So, full spoilers for the movie. Then, so the killer, it turns out, because the big thing in the movie is everyone assumes it's the magician, because the kid that they played the prank on, like the asshole character remembers that he was into magic, so it must be him. And they're like, well, why does none of you recognize him then? Yeah. Like, it's not been that long. Yeah. And so to the point where at one point they chain in the car that has the magician's like sort of backstage area, right? And then, but the magician turns up dead after they think that the killer's dead because Jamie Lee Curtis like kicked him off the train. He actually stayed on the train, kind of like a James Bond style, like clinging to the train and climbing around.
I will say I did like the one scene where like she's just kind of sitting and the window's behind her and you just start to see like the killer outside on the window. Like I was like, oh yeah, that was a decent scene. Yeah, that was an okay little moment. Although it did make me think, what is this guy, Spider-Man? Like, the way he's crawling around outside the train. But no, I'll agree that was effective in and of itself. I thought all the stuff before that though, where she like meets him in the car and like she kind of locks herself in the cage for a little bit. Like all that was just kind of whatever. But the twist is that when she eventually finds the magician's dead body in the back, she runs up to the conductor's car to tell him, and she thinks he's sitting there, and she sits down next to him, but it's actually the killer just wearing a conductor's hat. And then he takes off the hat and reveals a blonde wig, and it turns out the plot twist is that he's actually been the magician's assistant the whole movie in drag. I would have to go back and watch it, but was that definitely him the whole time? Because I do remember
It was. I noticed. See the scene where they're going to lock the room and the conductor comes in to talk to her and says, hey, we've got some coffee, and then he whispers to her, we're going to lock this room for safety or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I noticed in that scene, I noticed his face, and I was like, okay.
Like there was a very specific scene where, they did a trick or something, and like she came out afterwards and kind of like, did this little pose or whatever. That I remember being like, oh, it looks Yeah, and like, is that supposed to be a guy or something? Like it
Mm.
looked a little strange, but I wasn't sure if, yeah, it was the whole movie or just like a couple of scenes. But
Yeah.
uh,
I assumed it was him the whole time. I mean, maybe it was after he brought her
yeah,
back from the trick. Maybe there was a change there. Uh,
yeah,
but I thought it was for the whole, or thought it was him the whole time rather. Um, and it's just kind of whatever. And eventually he forces Jamie Lee Curtis to kiss him, and then he starts having like PTSD flashbacks to the prank, and then starts spiraling again, starts twirling,
yeah.
and like I think it's like coats that are on a rack. And then the conductor
It's so
does run.
stupid.
He runs in at this point and then just hits him with like a bat, and he falls
Yeah.
off the train as they're going over a bridge to his death.
Mm.
And that's the credits basically start playing almost immediately. And that's it. One of the things that kind of bugs me is that the killer never like goes after anyone random. He just seems to kill the people who are specific like to the prank from the past.
Yeah,
So all these extra people who could be like kill fodder are just kind of around and never get attacked.
yeah. And there's like a lot of people on the train, so you could, yeah, you could definitely have a good amount of deaths if you want, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's a pretty small body count, and which could be fine if the kills were interesting, if we'd actually see it, if there was some gore, but there really isn't. It's, yeah, very very dull in terms of the actual slashing in the slasher.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not the worst thing ever. It's just a really mediocre movie. It's just really mediocre.
Yeah.
I'm not super fond of it. It's kind of
No,
okay.
unfortunately, especially like there's not a ton of New Year's, horror movies, but I mean, if you compare it to, the big one, New Year's Evil, this is, way, way below that.
Oh yeah. It's just a really dull movie. It's a little bit too long. It plods around. I think when it gets to the suspense stuff in the third act, it's actually shot far too dark to really see what's going on a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I just kind of felt like I was getting rumbles and tussles and like none of the deaths are that stand out. I can't think of one death where I'm going, yeah, that was like a memorable moment, or not even gory. Like it's fine if it's not gory or like
Yeah.
splatterfest, but not even memorable.
Yeah, I mean, I guess maybe like the one I probably remember the most is the guy that's dressed up like the lizard, and he kind of like smashes his head against the mirror and stuff. But yeah, even that, it's not like that good.
He's in a giant puffy kind of like mask, so they could have easily like
Yeah.
padded that with whatever they wanted to. There's nothing really impressive about it.
Yeah.
If it was his
And
straight face and you saw blood squirting everywhere, but okay, now we're talking.
Yeah, and and I love they do the horror movie trope where, all right, the killer is wearing this other mask now, so of course like the girl sees him and thinks it's just the regular guy, and of course like tries to like seduce him and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
I always love that in like movies when they're like, oh, wow, this guy isn't saying anything at all. I should probably sleep with him. Like, it's so weird.
Yeah, because she's trying to cheat in the asshole who was her boyfriend because he's cheating on her, and even Jamie Lee Curtis's boyfriend is kind of cheating on her. He tries to kind of get out of it when the girl
Yeah.
who's with who's really drunk starts to kind of like initiate sex, but at that point I'm like, wait, so she's getting undressed and like, what did you think you came back to this car for the private meeting? Like, if you
Yeah.
didn't want to go through with anything, like, I guess you could argue that he changed his mind. That he's like, no, you know what, I'm not going to be like an asshole here. But it's like you already made the choice to come back here with her. I've already kind of judged you, to be honest. Like, there's
Yes.
no rescue in this.
That's fair.
So I don't know. There's not a whole lot to talk about. It's a really kind of just dull movie.
Yeah.
The most interesting part about it is the idea is the rivalry and the jealousy of the magician,
Yeah.
and that's it. And a couple of the conductor scenes, I guess, with him trying to like keep everything in line. But
Yeah. I was kind of happy in the beginning where like the first person to die was that guy that was doing a lot of really unfunny jokes. I was like, all right, well, at least we don't have to put up with this guy for that much.
Yeah, it was like a unpleasant version of Shelley
Yeah, pretty much.
from Friday the 13th Part 3. Because Shelley's a gem. I have no problem with Shelley.
Sure, if you say so.
So Shelley's a friend of this podcast. You shut up.
Is he really?
Big fan. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, yeah, we love you, Shelly. Anytime you want to come on. So, yeah, like that's. I guess these are like typical like asshole frat douchebags, but like they think that they're so funny and their pranks are so cool, but they're really like just like so stupid and generic that I'm kind of glad they died.
Yeah, I think my biggest problem with this movie is it's just the wasted potential of like so many. Like the idea of being isolated on a train, the idea that the train when they try to stop to like get like medical attention, like they're in the middle of nowhere because this train track goes through the country, so there's nothing. There's no place to like there's call for help halfway through. They have to keep going.
Yeah. I'm kind of surprised this never got remade. Like, when we had that kind of like mid 2000s boom where everything like, Black Christmas and When a Stranger Calls and like all those kind of, slashery, thrillery movies were getting remade.
It's a Fox movie as well. You'd think Fox would have been like, yeah, let's do another one.
Yeah. But I mean, this is actually something that I probably wouldn't mind a remake because
I agree with that.
This one is kind of dull, but there's something there that could potentially be good.
Yeah, just take the basic premise of a slasher on a train, and just make a movie about it and just call it Terror because the title's good. Sure, it's a fun title.
Yeah.
it's just lacking.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll wrap up. I don't have much more to add about this one, unfortunately. It's just kind of dull.
I mean, I can't really think of like any standout scenes. I mean, I love Jamie Lee Curtis, of course. Like she was, like she was good as always. But I mean, it's not the best character she's ever played for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gets like the label the Scream Queen. But what were the horror movies she did? So obviously like Halloween, 1 and 2, and then this, and then was it the first Prom Night or only the second one?
First one. She was in the first one.
Okay.
I think it was just those. I think it was like those three. It was like a trifecta.
Okay.
Let me see. Oh, she's in The Fog as well, of course, which is also Carpenter.
Oh, forgot about that. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
which we've not done The Fog yet, but we'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
So she's in Halloween, then The Fog, then Prom Night, and then Terror Train, and then Halloween 2. So that was kind of your little streak.
What, was she in Prom Night 2 as well?
No.
Oh, no, I thought that was her as well. Okay.
I don't think so. Unless it was much later and I'm not seeing it in this list. But no.
Well, I've actually never seen Prom Night 2. I've just seen like the cover. Was it Prom Night 2 Hello Mary Lou or something?
Let me click in Prom Night and go to Prom Night 2 and see what it says. How is Prom Night 2 not the first one that it says? Yes. Oh, you're right. It does say Hello Mary Lou, but is Jamie Lee Curtis in this? She does not appear to be now.
Oh, okay. I thought it was her on the cover, but I was wrong.
Yeah. You're shamed. You've shamed this show, Tim, for being wrong. How dare you shame us with your incorrectness, you sick, savage piece of trash.
Yeah, well, I'll have to. You have to give me one of your classic spankings once we're done recording.
Of all the things I thought you were going to respond to that stupid phrase with, that was not what I was expecting.
What's I? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I remember what I was gonna say.
This better be gold now. This better be gold.
Usually go to prom.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not going to be. No, I was just wondering when people usually go to the prom. Is that what, like May, June?
Yeah, I'd say May. Yeah, or June. Yeah, end of the school year. Yeah.
Yeah, we should do the prom night movies around that time. We should have like the first ever Mild Fuzz prom, and like all the shows have to do like you do a sci-fi prom movie on 1.21, and then
do we have to bring a date? Do I have to get a date for the prom? See, it's easier for you. You're married now, Tim. You've got like just a default date.
Yeah. Well, maybe the highest Patreon donor can automatically gets to be the date.
Or do we do a jokey thing where we reach out to other podcasts and see if we can get like guests and they're like the dates.
Oh sure, yeah.
That's a fun concept. They'd have to want to talk about prom night though, which no one might want.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
We'll get the whoever the lady was that did Serial. See if she wants to come on talk about prom night.
That's the first one you think of.
Yeah.
Hey, you did Serial, that like world renowned podcast that won awards and was like acclaimed for doing serious journalism, and come on to our shitty little horror movie show. Talk about prom night. Oh dear. How many prom nights were there? Was it just 2? Not counting the remake, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, two that I know of off the top of my head, but could be more.
Oh, that was a third one. Oh, there's a fourth one.
Oh my god.
I mean, obviously we've got a lot of sequels to do, but it could be the sort of thing where we do one each prom every year.
Sure.
Every June ish do a prom night.
Sounds good.
Because it's prom season. All right, let's put ourselves out of the misery, Tim, and rate prom, not prom night. Well, watched that yet. Rate Terror Train.
Man, I hate to go real low, but I think I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, there's not so much that happens. Like, I can't really think of that many. Like you said, it's dull.
Yeah.
You know, there's.
I don't know if
if there was better kills, and maybe if the characters maybe a little more outlandish or memorable, then I feel like I could justify it and give it like a 5 or something. But
I don't.
For me, there's not enough there.
I don't know if I'd go that disastrous with it, because a 3.5, we're getting into like really, really bad. I feel this is just really, really mediocre. So I'm going to go with 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
It's dull. It doesn't do enough with its premise, but it's not like absurdly bad either. It's just kind of there. It's almost just right in the middle. But I'm going to go slightly under the middle and say 4.5 because it's just kind of annoying how much it whiffs its potential. So
that's fair.
But there you go. So there you go. That's Terror Train. Happy New Year, you filthy animals.
Hey.
Welcome to 2019. Where me and Tim have like 8 Leprechaun movies to do, and yeah, and we've got like one more Howling movie left.
I haven't. So believe it or not, people have been reaching out to me to see what I thought of the new Leprechaun movie. I've not watched it yet because
I want the receipts to this.
But I unfortunately I haven't watched it yet because it's not on Blu-ray yet. So I want to, if I have to stream it, I will. But I was kind of holding out hope for when a Blu-ray comes out. But
Tim wants the best possible experience for the newest entry in the Leprechaun series.
But one of the listeners of the podcast though actually reached out to me and let me know that they were actually surprised, but there's there's some bright spots to it. So I am looking forward to it, and obviously we'll do it eventually on here.
Yes. So we're gonna get there after we go to the rest. The first one's coming soon, is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
First one's coming soon. We may have already recorded it. It's in the bank. It's coming soon.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, well, I didn't want Tim to get confused because I was expecting Tim to be like, "What are you talking about? We've done the first one already." I'm like, "No, Tim, it's not out yet. It's fine. It's fine. Just bear with me. It's coming at a later date." But yeah, so Terror Train is I want to say it's terrible for the pun, but it's not quite terrible. It's just kind of mediocre.
No.
So yeah, but that is Terror Train. Let us know what you think of Terror Train in the comments below.
Tedious Train.
Tedious. There you go. Tedious Train. There you go. All aboard! Choo choo.
All right.
Yes. Tim's the conductor, obviously. So,
of course.
yeah. So, of course, you go to patreon.com/MailFuzzTV and you can support us over there financially for as little as $1 per month, and you get access to various things. At the $5 tier, you get access to the monthly vote, where we vote for you get to vote for a movie that we're going to do on the show. You get access to the crypt, where you can nominate movies into a list, a to-do list of sorts. The list itself is viewable for everyone. You can click on the link below in the description. But patrons get to add movies to it, and we'll do a crypt movie soon because it's been a while since we've done one. So we'll do one soon. So you can do that, and I think that's everything. Yeah, like, subscribe. At Screams Midnight on Twitter. There you go. I'm at Wibble89. Tim's at Tim Vergilish. Are you any New Year's resolutions, Tim, you want to throw out there?
I'm just gonna be, working on a lot of stuff. There's some stuff I'm gonna try to be putting out in the new year. So I'll make an announcement though once that's more close to
I
being released.
think your wife will be delighted to hear that you're going to try and put out more in 2019.
of course.
I'm going to be putting out more in 2019. That's my
Yeah.
New Year's resolution. Oh dear. I just hope we get better movies in 2019, Tim. That's all I'm hoping for.
Hmm.
But we've got so many crappy sequels on the schedule that I'm not feeling very optimistic about it.
I mean, I'm trying to think what are the big 2019 movies. Pet Cemetery in
Happy
April.
Death Day to you, baby.
That looks fun.
Actually looking forward to that, so that's good. Yes.
Is it Chapter 2 in 2019?
I think so. I believe the director of The Witches, his next movie, The Lighthouse, is out in 2019.
Ooh. Okay, very excited for that.
Yeah, so those things coming. By all means, if you happen to know about a New Year's themed horror movie, or indeed any holiday themed horror movie, by all means recommend them to us, and we'll add them to the list of things we can do when we hit certain holidays. Now, I'm annoyed actually because this past year we were on a bit of a tight schedule around April time, so we didn't get to do an April Fool's movie, which was annoyed because I had one ready. To go. But that was right when your work was getting really intense and we didn't have time to record as many episodes.
Right.
So, by hook or by crook, there's an April Fool's movie coming this year. It's happening.
Okay.
It's happening. Because we did April Fool's Day a couple of years ago. I wasn't sure if any more existed, but I found one, damn it. I found one.
What was the one we did that was like really dumb where like they go off to an island?
Oh, that was a New Year's movie, wasn't it?
I thought it was April Fool's movie. Maybe it was New Year's.
It was bloody New Year. Yeah, it was really low budget and
Oh, okay. No. There's
an island movie.
there's an April Fool's one. Maybe we'll
Are you
talk
thinking of
about it
April
off air.
Fool's Day? Because they had to go on a boat for that.
Oh, what that was April
That
Fool's
was April
Day?
Fool's Day, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They go to the house, but they had to go on a boat to get there at the start, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, and Biff
I
from
did
Back to
not
the
enjoy
Future was
that.
in it. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah, that was
I
that
did
one.
not like that one.
Yeah, I wasn't that fond of that either. But hey, so maybe next time we'll have a good movie. That'd be nice. But that is Screams After Midnight. That has been us for 2018. Hopefully you've enjoyed the 70+ episodes that we've had this year, and we'll try and top that next year. Maybe. I won't make promises.
Okay.
Every time we get towards the October-thon, Tim starts threatening me with legal notices about all the work I make him do. But hey, I actually think we did quite well this year for October, given that you were getting married that month. But I think we put out a good slate of episodes, given that we couldn't record for most of that month. So
Yeah.
you know, hey, yeah, I'm patting ourselves on the back. I'm giving us credit where credit is due for 2018.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
it wasn't bad. Yeah. So thank you very much, guys. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting us, and we'll have you a whole year of other horror movies to talk about coming soon, coming to a YouTube window or a podcast app near you. So thank you very much. We'll see you guys next time. Keep watching scary movies. Happy New Year.